There's no war in Ba Sing Se.
What are you talking about? Where do you think all the refugees come from? You can't hide it.
There is no war within the walls. Here we are safe. Here we are free.
I mean, if you...
There she is.
Sneaky bitch.
I am. What is there anything you're really excited for figure-wise coming up?
Like in big important ones, or just like stuff on the horizon?
I mean, just whatever you want to define it. Just the one like I am excited for this figure. Thinking about it brings me joy. I might masturbate to it.
So like there's ones that are on the periphery, like they're like, oh, they're way out there. That I have pre-ordered. But right now there's a retro Spider-Man Marvel Legends that's kind of in the ether. And that one I'm looking forward to. I'll send a picture in chat. But yeah, there's a couple of the retro Marvel Legends. I feel like there's stuff I have. You know, I easiest way to do that to know is go to bigbadtoystore.com and look up your pre-orders. That's right, folks. Big Bad Toy Store. They are your place for the biggest, baddest toys in the block.
While you're
that sounds professional.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
We have moments.
Hey, while you're doing that, you might need a thirsty refreshment. You're thirsty and you need a refreshment. Maybe you should try Great Notion Beer, the brewery from Portland that gets you drunk.
It'll get you drunk.
It'll get you drunk.
You won't want to fight anyone because it's from Portland. So the only thing you'll be fighting is fascism.
Are the cops. There you go.
Yeah, I said fascism.
There you go. Oh, there's a new Nightwing Mafex. That's looking really good.
Wait,
like
70s Nightwing?
No, like 90s. Oh god, Brian Stelfree's Nightwing, which is like the best Nightwing. It is the Hush version though, so it's like Jim Lee take on that. So it's really good. Oh, there's also an Aliens model for the Power Loader. So you build the Power Loader in 1/12 scale. So I could then put Nightwing in a Power Loader from Aliens. Those are pretty. Yeah.
That's the only way to fight Bane, honestly. Yeah. Fuck you, Bane. I'm so strong. Well, now I'm just strangling you with a Power Loader.
Break you, motherfucker. What are you doing?
Oh God. No, not out of the airlock. No, the fire doesn't rise in space.
We can talk about this, can't we? I mean, sure, I'm a bad guy, but
just a discussion.
Those are two of the most recent things that kind of popped up on my radar. I mean, there's like other they're doing some Ronin Warriors figures that I really love. I'm looking forward to a Fennec Shand from Fennec Shand is Ming Na Wen from Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, what just happened?
Just showing you some of the editing bay. One of the screens we got up there.
Geriatric adjective.
Yeah. we go deep into that one.
Fair enough.
That seems like something we should go deep into.
Yeah, it's a good stuff.
Hey, it's magic.
Fucking Ong is old.
It's Aang. They say Aang in the show.
My name is Ong. And I'm the Avatar.
I do have an interview with M. Night Shyamalan in here as well.
What did that asshole say about the name change?
They weren't particularly interviewing about that. The interviews about people hating him. Especially
so they were interviewing about that.
Yeah. He was like, I don't understand why American audiences hate me. And it seems like it's getting worse.
Because your movies are shit.
Yeah. But he's also
I did enjoy Devil.
Is that the elevator one?
Yeah.
I did enjoy that one. Yeah.
I know the toast thing is really stupid. Ken, have you seen Devil?
No.
So
I don't really care either. It's one that was like, I
can't.
There. Spoiler alert, people.
Yeah, it's not bad. people, go ahead and watch it. I guess that's a spoiler.
It's not, and it's not.
There-
He's had
it's not
much worse movies.
Good.
Yeah.
Far
There
worse
is a
movies.
scene where someone is showing that evil is present by throwing toast up in the air, and it always lands jelly side down.
Yeah, I think that has to be some kind of like international superstition.
I mean, I'm sure it's a superstition in multiple cultures. The fact that they tried to make a point of it, like they were kind of playing it for laughs, but also he was like really serious about it.
Look. What are you doing? Oh. When he's near, everything goes wrong. Toast falls jelly side down. Children hit tables, and people get hurt.
Hey, the police do not want to hear this stuff from Harris, okay? So just stop now.
Sometimes he takes human form and torments the damned on earth before stealing them away. Where I come from, we call it the devil's meat.
But like I'm really puzzled because like that's just science, right? Though, like that it's gonna land jelly side down because the weight of the jelly would keep it. I mean, I'm clearly not a scientist.
Am I a jelly scientist? Do I do a lot of jelly research?
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
I heard you have a doctorate in toastology. So
I'll tell you right
Yeah,
now,
toast.
the devil believes in science.
got jelly. I thought you took thought you took a major in toast and a minor in jelly. Okay,
No,
I'm sorry,
no,
my bad.
It was all butter.
So minor he forgot.
That's it. You know,
It was the
that's
minorist.
just the butter on toast is not bad. I am a
Butter
fan.
on toast is the best.
You
I mean,
get
let's be
nice-
honest though, butter on most things is amazing.
Yeah, fair enough. Garlic butter. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I mean, did you throw some
All
garlic
right,
in
well,
that?
we're done, folks. We're gonna go eat.
For garlic bread. Welcome to the Garlic Bread Podcast.
little butter, a little sugar, a little cinnamon on a nice piece of toast.
Sounds a little similar to our last podcast of more butter on toast.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about.
Not really. We ran out of breads to talk about.
What are you
Have
got
we talked-
sourdoughs? You got the challah breads. Want to do that cinnamon rolls with the raisin
Ooh.
swirls?
I love that one. That is really good.
There's shrimp kebabs, shrimp creole, shrimp gumbo, pan fried, deep fried, stir fried. There's pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, pepper shrimp, shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich. That's about it.
We haven't even touched on multigrain, and that's like 1,000 different breads.
I'm surprised they haven't made burgers with that kind of stuff, with the cinnamon toast with the raisin in it.
I guarantee they have.
I would imagine since
I mean,
people
they
have
made it
used
out of a
donuts.
donut. Yeah.
I would say since people have done donuts, I can see them doing the cinnamon. Yeah, I can see it happening.
I mean, I haven't seen it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's
I figured Guy Fieri have it somewhere in his back pocket.
I mean,
mean-
have you been to Guy Fieri's restaurant?
I haven't, but I have seen the menu.
But I'd say fair enough. You are in Florida, and that's the most kind of like, who wants to eat something? I've got a fucking idea.
Yeah.
That does seem like Florida.
Sir, Chicago would like to have a word with you.
I was gonna say, I know that I believe
Chicago's more like meats though. Like,
But
I think
isn't Ohio the test bed state of every like KFC? All of them have their test stores are in
I
Ohio.
believe so. Wisconsin is the state where instead of like the popcorn machine at the bar, they have like bacon.
what?
That is what I have been told.
I don't even like
in
bars, but
Madison.
I just go there for like, you a little bit. Can I get a bowl over here?
Yeah.
What do you have
can
to
I
drink?
get
I'm still going to the beer menu. Okay, I'm still thinking. Okay?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna lie. I'm guessing the beer menu is, it's Milwaukee. So Miller Light, Miller High Life. Pick one.
Are those
right
all from
now.
Milwaukee? Wouldn't it be
Wait,
Milwaukee's
Miller,
Finest
Milwaukee?
or whatever?
Yeah, Miller's Milwaukee.
Yeah, but isn't there like a Milwaukee beer actually? Like a
Old
beer called
Milwaukee.
Old Milwaukee. There we go.
Yeah, in the fancier places.
Wait. So you tell me I can't get a Coors banquet? I can't sit back with my buddy
I mean,
Johnny
you can.
Lawrence
You-
and have a Coors
But you're not
banquet?
going to be allowed in the state.
yeah, you can, but they're gonna throw you out and shoot you.
Fucking ridiculous.
I think
Well,
they're
you
gonna
want a
shoot you first,
Budweiser
then throw
too,
you
you
out.
St. Louis piece of shit.
Go across the border, you asshole.
Fuck
I-
out of here.
I only know about Coors banquet because of Johnny Lawrence. So that's my
That's
biggest
that's
takeaway.
that's the only way to know it anyway. Don't actually
enough.
drink it.
But they come with those little glass bottles. They look so enticing. Like, I don't know.
Well, they have to. It's like ugly people. They have to compensate. They have to make up for all the stuff
Gotcha.
they lack.
But they're little, yellow,
well, like-
different.
Shut the fuck up.
Is that more advertising? Yellow.
I mean, it's a
Coors
description
Light.
of me, depending on your point of view.
Fair
Are you-
enough. This is like the Coors Light can that turns blue so you know it's cold. Like that doesn't help the beer.
We have a code blue.
Code what?
Code blue?
Code blue. Code blue.
Divide by the total sales, you'll see how we came up with the 10%.
Code blue.
Code blue.
The cold activated bottle from Coors Light. The mountains on the label turn blue when your beer is as cold as the Rockies.
Oh, what?
It
Now
does.
I just, instead of touching
Now it's
it,
cold.
I don't
Now it's
have to
cold.
feel it to know it's cold.
The
Hey,
beer's
that beer
cold,
over there,
Brad.
that's warm. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that
exactly.
A lot
one
of
right
F-bombs
there.
for me today. A lot of F-bombs. I apologize.
Well, fuck shit, cocksuck.
It's because you're not drinking your banquet of beers.
I'm not. I'm not.
You're a
I'm
hedge.
not having a banquet of beers. That is true.
That's a lot of beers.
Today it is the Major Melon of Mountain Dew.
Ooh,
Major melon.
Major melon.
What does that one
Yeah.
taste like?
Watermelon.
Okay. Does it actually taste like watermelon, or does it taste like battery
It ta-
acid?
It
with a
tastes
hint
like
of watermelon.
it tastes like a watermelon Jolly Rancher. Like
Ooh.
not like a real watermelon. Just like when you get a banana flavored quick
Yellow.
milk. Yeah, it
Yellow
tastes like
flavor.
fake
Tastes
banana.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like
Or
banana
like the-
taffy.
Yeah, or banana runs. Exactly. That
Yeah.
but my brain likes those chemicals. So I'm like, woohoo.
Yeah, no, like
Well, you were raised in the 80s. You damn well should be.
Damn right. I was raised
Your
in
body-
the 80s and I was lower middle class. So they're
I
like,
was raised on Ecto Cooler. I don't know what the flavor
Oh.
was.
oh,
I loved it.
tangerine. It's tangerine. It's fantastic.
good.
That was not fucking.
So
that wasn't even
fucking
close
good.
to tangerine.
I mean, that's the flavors they mixed and used for tangerine.
Tangerine.
And when
Did they just use tangerine coloring?
I mean, no, because the coloring was green.
What the
Um,
fuck?
Yeah, they weren't right.
When they left the license for Ecto Cooler, they still sold it as like I want to say tangerine something.
Dream, right?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
And it's like nobody wants this shit. Get the fuck out of here.
I want the ghost that comes with it.
Yeah, this
Exactly.
tastes like trash without Slimer.
Well, that was the thing. Like, so when the 2016 movie rolled around, they didn't have the license for Slimer, so they couldn't put it on the cans, but they were able to sell it. But then when they brought it back for Ghostbusters Afterlife, they had the license for Slimer, but because of the way it was done, they couldn't sell it. It was only a promotional item. So, like, you had to like,
What was the license for Slimer?
I think it's more the license for the art. And so, like, I'm not 100%
Couldn't you do
sure
your own version of Slimer?
they could have, but then they decided not to. So they're like, well, let's just reuse it. But that way, it had to be a promotional item, which is horrible. They should have just given it, like, found a way, sell this stuff, make your money, and like just give it. It was orange tangerine.
Life finds a way.
Mm-hmm.
Orange tangerine. That sounds redundant.
I mean, a tangerine
Those are different
is,
fruits.
It's always
I
a
know.
tangerine.
Oh, we got Michael Caine back on the show.
Every time I got to do that accent, that is literally the size of a
It's always
tangerine.
a tangerine.
Fucking assholes.
And then Kareem.
I'm
with his
waiting for I'm waiting for Ice-T to show up.
magic-
will.
say,
Don't tempt him.
Well, look at me. I just know stuff.
And Chris Hemsworth. The whole gallery.
I was saying, wait, do we have? I don't know. Have we had a Hemsworth?
No.
Yeah, you did
impersonation?
Hemsworth. You did Hemsworth a few podcasts ago.
Wow, all
with
right.
Jason.
Wow, you were just,
Was it Liam? Oh, would you? Okay.
you're a
Chris,
young
Chris,
Frank
okay.
Caliendo.
Don't be him. Don't be him.
But their defense offended me. That's how bad it was. It was crazy. They need to be all over Kobe Bryant, just like we need to be all over Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-il is nuts. He's gonna blow up the world because he's a knucklehead. You can't give a little guy with a little man complex a nuclear missile. That's crazy. That's a recipe for disaster, Kenny. Terrible, 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 crazy knuckleheaded, terrible.
I like the Kareem's camera.
Why is your camera drug? Again, I can't do it.
It's supposed to be like on focus. There we go.
Really?
But I started laughing and my head shifted. The camera was like, wait, he's out of frame.
Camera's got a goddamn targeting system.
It's just like it bashfully looked away. That was the camera. Just like, oh,
let him laugh.
I think my camera was laughing at you, Ken. That's
fair enough. I'm very laughable.
I think your camera has the Ed 209 targeting system.
It does. Just very bad.
But not the RoboCop one or the Terminator one. Very specific Ed 209 where it's like
shoot up everything.
You have 10 seconds to comply.
Yeah. And there's a 30% possibility it's just gonna like shoot off, like it's got drift.
Shoot so hard that it falls backwards.
It's weird your camera's on those stupid legs.
Well, I mean, why not have a tripod? Or was it bipod, right?
This is totally off topic, but it's great.
Really?
B-roll. I saw a video this weekend that the bitches leave scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did not know.
I still need to get that clip for Kareem.
I did not know that the director, the reason it is in there is because the director evidently did not understand that bitches is a pejorative for women.
They didn't seem to have a problem with it at all. You know, they were like, okay, fine, sure.
Very good. Thank you, bitches. Very good. That's a wrap on the bitches. Thank you very much, bitches.
So on set, he's just literally like, and then the bitches come here, and then the bitches go there. Maybe the bitch, and literally just not just like, that's just how you refer to women. I will send you the clip.
What is his name?
Incredible. Paul Vanderhoeven.
Vanderhoeven, yeah.
I may have.
What else did he do?
Verhoeven.
Starship Troopers. Verhoeven. Thank you.
Paul Verhoeven.
Starship
Troopers.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in that movie. But I think we actually had an interview in our B-roll about the costume for RoboCop. And we were talking about how slender what's the actor's name?
Peter Weller.
Peter
Weller had to be in order to fit into the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole, and he goes, I mean, when I hear him speak about RoboCop, I was like, dude, it's a lot smarter than I give him credit for. I think I was just associating his character with, his personality with this character who was sort of kind of an idiot. But hearing him speak about it, I'm like, man, they really believed in this movie.
It's a really good movie.
He's also like, he did some interviews for Star Trek as well, because he was in Star Trek 2 Into Darkness.
Yes.
And then he also did Batman. I'm sorry, the Dark Knight, Legends of the Dark Knight Returns. And he was the titular Batman. And he's done interviews in all those times, and he's always come off as being far more not critical, but thoughtful of his roles. Like he actually puts a lot of time and thought into it. But which is because I guess he does a lot more stage stuff in the interim, because it's like RoboCop was his kind of one mainstream show of it, and then he departed for the
Buckaroo
stage.
Banzai exists.
Oh right, I'm sorry. That's one movie I have never seen. Oh, I said Kareem's camera again. It's just like it.
So shy.
You gotta stop talking, kid.
I like that you gotta face off your camera to get it back. Hey.
I don't think kids ever laughed that hard on this podcast ever.
That was so, because I just picture
John Travolta
going, and the kid going like, "What are you doing?
Why?
This is the weirdest thing. Like,
you're not actually touching me, but it's weird, Dad.
My last family were drug addicts, and they're better than this. This is what's going on here.
Could you shoot each
social
other?
Services.
Yeah.
I did that to Michelle once, and we almost didn't get married.
It's fair.
Rightfully so.
I couldn't be mad at her. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Before we start, I just had that's a question. Maybe this would be a topic for a different pod. But if they did a remake, who would you recast for Face Off? In both lead roles?
I'm keeping Nick Cage.
Okay.
This is great podcasting.
No, I'm trying to think what.
Well, this is B-roll. Yeah. Unless Pat comes up with some gold
names that initially popped in my head for hilarity: Idris Elba, Tom Holland, Charlize Theron.
So a guy-girl situation.
Why not?
That'd be kind of cool.
Tuck and cover.
Just so you could say that.
Yes.
Tuck and cover.
Oh my goodness.
Those are the first ones that just like automatically popped in. But I'm keeping Nick Cage because I need to see him try and act like John Travolta acting like Nick Cage is one thing. It's just like, oh, crazy Travolta. But Nick Cage trying to act like John Travolta, that is a tour de force of.
So now you want him to act like Idris Elba?
Yeah. Think about that a second. Think about Nicolas Cage trying to act like Idris Elba.
The first person that came to my mind was Jack Black. And then you said, oh, whatever's happening, I'm still keeping Jack Black. So I'm like, okay. So then Jack Black in the Travolta role and Nick Cage in the Nick Cage role, and just go from there. And then since you said Tom Holland as the son of Tom Holland as the son of both Nick Cage and of
with a different wig.
Just different wigs. Like one's a black-haired wig, one's a blonde. That's I do like the Idris Elba though. That's definitely
so we're doing a comedy, right? That's
at
least what I'm getting at.
No, not on purpose.
Played completely serious.
Yes.
Okay. And I was going to say, because like they're not
for shot.
This has nothing to do with like spies, FBI. This is just like two guys working at a bakery or something.
No.
Again,
shot for shot remake.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is the same movie.
Get John Woo here now.
Has John Woo made a movie in like?
It doesn't matter. He's making one right now.
Okay.
Or you find a gentleman named John Woo.
Someone legally changes their name to John Woo. Not even that.
Sounds
Someone has a business card that says John Woo on it.
And it's not even spelled the same.
No,
right,
fine.
exactly. It's John Woo.
I like that. So you got Ric Flair.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Ric Flair.
And John Woo hasn't done anything since Manhunt in 2017.
Okay. Maybe he's working on something.
Yeah.
All I want to do is now recast films. That's it. I'm just like, okay. Like 90s films. Like, how do you recast Con Air? Who's in the Chief O'Brien role?
Are you really just recasting Nick Cage movies?
No, but we're not recasting Nick Cage though.
No,
we're just recasting everyone around.
Unless
we'll get a
Nick
new
Cage is moved to another role within the film.
Ooh. So now he's Cyrus the Virus.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that.
Best line in the movie ever. Say Anara.
That was such a shitty movie in retrospect, but I watched the hell out of it.
I saw it recently. It's terrible, but great.
Well, it's one of those things too, of like, because at the time, like it was the changeover to DVD. So many people were like, well, we got to get the DVD. Well, it's DVDs that were in your collection simply because it was that time. Like now it's like, oh, well, even rewind 10 years, like, oh, you were far more critical of like which DVDs you would buy. But at the time it was like, well, it's in high definition, guys. Like,
true.
My TV is 720p. Like, we've got to watch these DVDs. Like, that's like, you got to see this. Like, this is cutting edge. And so, yeah, you like everyone had in those stupid Warner Brothers cardboard cases. Like, you're just like, fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that all the Warner Brothers were in the shit cases. Like, can you just bring for the plastic, you assholes?
Was New Line as well, but then they switched over? Because I think I remember
one of them did.
I don't even remember
like
what New Line
Blade.
DVDs I would have had.
I feel like Blade
right.
was one that was crappy cardboard.
But they switched because I think it eventually ends up in plastic. And then they always released
one of those
the special edition.
Ones. Yeah.
Well, and they released a special edition. Like I think I have for some reason Fight Club and like the special, like, ooh, it comes out of a box.
Yeah.
No, not the aluminum. Come on.
Okay.
No,
Let's all calm down.
Maybe I'm misremembering it, but I could have sworn I had a Blade, or it could have just been a similar type of DVD, but it was just, I'm looking it up right now. I even typed in cardboard, but it doesn't look like there was one. It was that they were just the standard black case. I don't know, because like CDs were jewel cases. This wasn't a jewel case. I don't know what to call it.
Clamshell.
Clamshell. Thank you. Boom. But not the Disney clamshell, which is far more distinguished.
That definitely is copywritten, and you could not use it if you were not a Disney film without getting sued. It is the Apple charger.
It is. It was the lightning cable of its day.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just going to start sending plain DVDs without any cases now.
Now they just put them in a little paper envelope.
Yeah.
Like if you buy a piece of equipment, like to install into to your computer, and they're not going to tell you to download it from the internet. Depending on the time frame, it'll come on a DVD in a paper sleeve.
But you can download an NFT of a picture of the plastic sleeve.
How do you know it's not just a JPEG?
Because it's an NFT. Duh.
It says it in the name.
Stupid. Also, there's like a little terrible looking artistic rendition of a monkey. I don't know what is that. Just ape like in the corner, so you know that you're a trash person.
You mean a watermark?
Shut up. Ken, why are you excited? What did you win?
I on eBay I found the cardboard platinum edition Blade DVD. So there it is.
You were right.
I'm like I remember opening that stupid case and being like, this is so impractical.
No, but the case locks.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
Is that what they started sending early Xbox 360 games in?
360, no, 360 was always the clamshell. If I remember correctly, the PlayStation 1 had these long plastic ones that like they were just like, it was only for theft prevention. So you couldn't just like pocket it, but eventually they just went, oh no, just do a jewel case. Those stupid proprietary boxes are dumb and a waste of plastic.
And it also came to the like, oh, when people steal the game, they just take a razor blade, cut it open, and take the game out. It's like, they're not taking the package. They don't need the manual, despite our best efforts.
Yeah.
Come on, I gotta walk you through the game.
They'll just steal it from Blockbuster. They'll pay the extra $1.
We're making this a Blockbuster night, week, month.
No more.
Yeah, because there's a
robbed them out of existence. You happy?
I remember about the Resident Evil game for the original PlayStation was one of those long boxes, and I'm like, and they had the inside an inside sticker behind the disc. Like it was they did them right at the time. They're like, no, this is part of the experience. You're gonna pull it out. You're gonna see that thing behind the disc. You're like, you won't know what to do.
Now you get half a disc that says, "Don't worry, the rest will come later. Give us more money."
Ooh, and a 14-day trial for Xbox Live Game Pass.
Say that again.
I was saying a 14-day trial for Xbox Live Game Pass.
Did they come with those? I haven't bought an actual physical game in like, fuck.
I think it depends on the publisher, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I have received some in some games, but not in all of them. So,
what was the last physical game you bought?
Ghostbusters Remastered, the Xbox One remaster of the 360 version. I believe that's
nice.
Outer Worlds, I think is the last one I bought.
I think the Division was the last one I got.
Damn.
Division 2, maybe it was
Electric
Division 2.
Boogaloo.
Yeah. Well, because everything's all digital now. That's the same thing we did when we had DVDs, Pat.
Look at all the memory I have. La di da.
No, I don't have memory. I just delete the ones that I haven't played in like.
Oh, I just delete things left and right because I'm not a hoarder. Whoop-de-woo.
That was one thing for the Ghostbusters game is like, well, it's a licensed game, so I'm like, it's gonna disappear. It's gonna be delisted. I'm like, no, I kind of want that. And it's like I loved that game. It was so. I mean, you had the original cast back. Everyone came back. It's kind of funny too hearing an interview with Sigourney Weaver. She had originally passed on it, but then like by the time that she had heard about it again, she's like, wait, everyone's doing it? I thought this was just like just a side project thing. And she's like, I would have done it if I would have known it would have been like everyone back together. And then like, that's a bit of, I mean, Alyssa Milano plays the female lead in that game, which is, it's fine. It's a moderate role. It's in an early Ghostbusters series. It's a moderate role, which is mostly what you get for female characters in that. So yeah, but it's a really fun game.
Speaking of Sigourney Weaver in games, I tried playing an Alien game.
Which one?
Isolation?
Is that whatever the newest one is?
Or Space Marines?
Newest one's Fire Team.
Fire Team.
And you're thinking Colonial Marines.
Thank you.
I'm not a huge fan of it.
Of Fire Team?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A lot of falling crates, and then I mean, it seems like they made a game because of the license for that weird sound effect that the aliens make and the guns make. So they use the hell out of it.
Get him!
They do.
Yeah, like imagine just listening to aliens, just the sound effect over and over again.
Yeah, that's what I use for my
and the
white noise.
And the awesome pulse rifle sound.
Yeah, the pulse rifle. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I don't understand. That sounds cool as shit.
I mean, the aiming on it wasn't that great, and the amount of aliens.
Aim.
I think,
and I thought I was going to really enjoy it.
If I have to give you a critique or give you some feedback, I think like most games nowadays, they're all kind of moderate unless you add in friends. And I don't think you didn't play with me, so unless it was like with Bruce or Pat, get two other friends in there, and then while you're playing and shooting aliens, you're also like, oh hey, did you guys see that new episode of Boba Fett? Let's talk about that while we kill some. Oh God, cover me!
Also,
okay.
I would say the problem is you're more of a Hudson than a Hicks.
The ultimate badass. Spade is a badass.
Damn it, Hudson! Get over here.
Chicken shit.
Where's the real fruity shit now, man?
I am definitely a Hudson.
Game over, man.
Fair enough.
He wants some too.
What the fuck are we gonna do now?
What fucking put her in charge, man?
Classic coward just throughout the entire movie.
It's I think.
How did he even pass like basic training?
Basic muster? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they at this point in the series, this is the second movie. Like they hadn't confirmed the xenomorphs. Whereas like in Fireteam, it's very much more of like, oh no, they exist. They're confirmed in the world. People know about them. They are prepared to fight them. They know that they know a better amount of them. So there's it's kind of it's a little bit old hat, but also like if you've watched the Aliens movies enough, like it's fun to hear that sound, that pulse rifle, like you said, and you hear that hiss, and you hear you're there with your friends, and you're just like the sentry guns, man, that's in the room, like like that's the and there's plenty of things about the game that are kind of like wonky.
Okay,
but again, I think with most, just like Division was fine.
Division was awesome.
Division was fine once I got friends in there to play.
Fine.
It got repetitive. Like you just kept like, okay, we go here, we're gonna blow that dude up. All right, I'm gonna throw out my bomb, I'm gonna set up my turret. And it's actually the same thing. Like you set up your turret, I've got the aid station over here, I've got these grenades that have proximity mines attached. It's very similar. I'm troubled by the only 3-player fire teams, which that part we're so used to 4-player squads that a 3-player squad feels a little bit like, oh, I want just like one more guy there to help cover another angle.
Is that the point though?
I mean, maybe, but I mean, we saw the team in Aliens, so they were more than 3 dudes.
I mean, there were only 3 that were useful.
I mean,
there's actually only 2.
Vasquez
Ripley and what's
Ripley Hicks.
Oh, yeah,
Vasquez was useful. Vasquez was down.
Yeah, that's fair.
Until the Terminator killed him.
aside from the Jewish woman playing a Latina, that's otherwise she was down. Yes, I agree.
Never would have guessed that it was the same woman from T2. Never ever would have guessed that in 1,000 years.
Come on, look at that hair.
Wolfie's fine, dear.
That's why she cut it short.
Your adopted mother's dead.
Your adopted parents are dead.
Your foster parents are dead.
Thank you.
Whatever. We'll all try it.
Your foster parents are dead.
Man,
we'll let the audience figure out who's
RoboCop,
better.
not Terminator.
You watch Terminator, asshole.
Yeah, but where do I side? Come on.
With the Terminators. You side with the Terminators.
I side with our robot overlords.
Fair enough.
Man. All right. Avatar.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Speaking of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Speaking of overlords. What I want to know is what makes him think he's so great he can dictate what we do in our lives. If you could put a Fox News border around me, that'd be great. Thanks.
Going to. I'm just gonna do one of those like motion tracks and just put like Tucker Carlson's face on yours.
Yeah, no, I had like deep fake that shit.
Got it.
Why is it Aang sexier? See, there you go. Now, perfect.
There you go.
Oh my god.
I can't believe that was he actually said these words.
Of course he did, because he's just the biggest garbage person that should be launched directly into the sun. But like,
look, man.
But just with a barrel of gasoline underneath him, nothing else. Don't spend real money to launch him into the sun. Just essentially light him in a fire. That's all I need.
It's so ridiculous.
Did you guys? You guys did see the nude Eminem, correct?
The new like in
the
EW.
nude. The nude.
Okay, yeah, because you did say D. I thought I heard a D in there.
Who cares? Do you sleep in the nude?
So I was like,
The
and then
nude M&M.
Yes.
no,
Wait, what do you mean nude? How are they nude?
Nude.
This one like half eaten or something?
no. There's the brown M&M who's been given.
Is the brown M&M the one?
Oh, God. Is this gonna hurt?
I'm about to ruin your day.
Is
Are you on
my
a DeviantArt, Pat?
internet history about to be completely screwed here?
Yes.
No, because I just put it in chat.
Aren't all M&Ms nude?
No, they have the candy shell, so this one would be just without the candy shell. I'm guessing that's the inference.
Isn't that skinless?
I guess it depends.
I had to turn off.
There's nothing under.
That's not an M&M. Come on, guys. It's not an M&M.
Do we have a Space Jam scenario? Do we?
That got tricked. Face.
Oh man.
I got tricked. He's watching scat videos now.
I don't understand what this has to do with M&Ms, but
like, you want your chocolate? Here you go.
I love that Pat's like, I don't understand what this has to do with M&Ms, but I haven't turned away yet.
I will find this later. It made the rounds on Twitter, and it is quite disturbing.
Did someone draw this?
Yeah, like they took the M&M's shell off.
But then it's just chocolate, and so it looks like a brown
M&M.
No. Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
I don't like this.
I mean, I'm sure Tucker Carlson has it saved somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll keep my sexy M&Ms. Thank you.
You got to get off. You got to get off, man. I don't know what you want him to do. It's
I want him to die. That's what I want him to do.
Yes,
but as fast as possible. Like,
I mean,
preferably before the end of this month. Let's just. I'll give
him a couple days.
Jerking off to nude M&Ms. That's a David Carradine situation waiting to happen. So,
dude, David Carradine lasted way too long after stealing work from Bruce Lee.
Yeah,
but he also probably didn't look at the naked M&M until like right before he died. So it's fine.
Is that apparently, judging from what you're saying, it's the way to go.
So someone just flashed the cursed image in front of him, and he's like, "Oh God,
not the way to go at all. You should go your own way.
You can go your own
Thank
way.
You.
Go your own way." This is a karaoke episode.
All right, back to Avatar. Just fishing you guys back in.
We finished season 1.
There we go.
That ends with
dead girlfriend.
Yes, dead girlfriend. The moon's back. That's cool.
Kidnapped Avatar, right?
No, he's rescued by
He's
Dara.
rescued. Okay, right. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so they can hook up later.
Oh, you know they so hooked up off camera all the time.
Just tween friends with benefits.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do on a?
I feel like we're gonna
your
get
safe
canceled.
search is definitely off. Speaking of DeviantArt.
All right, so we're in book 2.
So in book 2, yeah. I think in the interest of a timeline, I think Kareem, your first episode, your most memorable episode, is first chronologically.
Yeah, Kareem.
Yeah. So I got book 2, Earth, episode 6, The Blind Bandit. So, I mean, this has got to be, I think it's a fan favorite, right? I'm pretty sure it's also probably one of the more iconic episodes from the show in general. And it's, I'll read the brief summary of it. The introduction of, that's my own writing. Still seeking earthbending master, Aang and the crew stumble upon an earthbending tournament. While there, they find a divine master earthbender Toph, a girl whom Aang saw in a vision in the swamp, which comes back into play several times actually throughout the show. Aang challenges her to and easily defeats her with airbending, but she refuses to teach him earthbending. Both Aang and Toph are captured by the owner of the earthbending tournament. I liked it just because I think I mentioned in my notes that she becomes a pretty cool and iconic character for accessibility and inclusion. I don't think I've ever, other than maybe that Ghostbuster who was in the wheelchair, had really ever seen characters, with any type of
differently abled
individuals, and not only differently able, but like main characters, and like the writers having to not necessarily write around it, but write to include it as kind of like their feature.
I would say one of the most interesting things about the character is that they don't, like you said, they don't shy away from the fact that she's blind. In fact, it becomes a joke, but not in a hurtful way. They'll say like, didn't you see? And like, no, I didn't. Like, okay, that seems like a realistic way to include that.
Well, yeah, and any person or parent or anything that's looking for a way to explain, particularly being vision impaired or anything like that, it's actually her ability is based on the fact that she can't see, and that she has to, it's one of the reasons why she becomes one of the best earthbenders out there, if not, the best, is because she can't see, and she uses her senses for other things, and it kind of heightens her ability to earthbend. So again, like you said, they don't shy away from it. They actually make it a strength in the show, and they take it seriously too. It isn't like you said, her friends joke about it with her, but nobody in the earth itself, the reality they exist in, make fun of it.
It's not mean-spirited.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree. It's definitely like, this is one of those few times we see a blind hero character that you kind of identify with. I will say, however, I'm a little ashamed that you forgot about the TV show Mantis, and that he was in a wheelchair except when he wore the Mantis suit, played by the fantastic Carl Lumley. And really, it's a damn shame, because that show was great for its time.
I didn't forget Mantis. I said animated.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Was there a cartoon of Mantis?
I think, you know what? The funny thing
is, there might have been. Yeah,
I bet there was in the works at some point. They're like, no, wait. The show's so good, we're gonna do an animated series next year, and they're like, oh, never mind that.
Well, they canceled the live action. What about this animated thing?
Yeah,
get that book out of here.
Get the shit out of here. But yeah, Mantis was. But yeah, no, definitely, and it's she's presented in such a way too. Like, it's not that it's not even played like it's not meant to play in your heartstrings. It is very much like, no, she's completely capable, and she's there to kick butt. And it's like, you see a little bit too of how she has been like diminished by her family and by her father.
Toph, there's too many of them. We need an earthbender. We need you.
My daughter is blind. She is blind and tiny and helpless and fragile. She cannot help you.
Yes, I can.
And like, oh no, you can't do this. You can't, like, she's just a blind girl. You can't, like, when Aang and them go to see her, I'm like, oh no, we need her help. And like, no, my daughter can't do that. And it's really good that they show she's just a strong, competent character from the get-go. Like, it's really good. And and like, of course, all the different wrestling stuff. If you're a fan of wrestling, the way they kind of play that in there is like, the boulder is conflicted.
I was going to say, she's the second most important behind the boulder, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, but yeah, though, she's definitely worth, like, she's great to be introduced. And right off the bat, like, you think like, oh, are we going to have Boomy be the one to teach her? But like, no, he finds a teacher that's right for him. And that's kind of the interesting thing of, like, him going into seclusion for those 100 years. He would have had Boomy be his teacher, or he would have had another contemporary at the time. But now he waited the right amount of time, and he found his teacher. And the same can be said for his fire bending teacher, which we'll get to. Yeah.
Well, that was the other thing that they kind of did when they started pairing him up with people he can learn skills from, is by keeping them within his age range. I mean, I'm assuming he'd be a great student regardless of age, but it just seems as they introduce new abilities and he kind of travels the world with these individuals, that it just kind of works that they're all around the same age and kind of learning and going through life through these kind of things. But like you said, I would just kind of harken back to our parent thing. I also, any parent who's watching this with a child might see themselves in this, especially if they have, if it isn't just physical disabilities, mental disabilities. I've read stories and spoken to people who initially, like if your child has autism, you without having sought guidance or things like that, people tend to baby their children thinking that like, oh, because they are differently abled, I need to protect them. And I think that's represented with her family. And we get to see the side of like, if you understand your child, if you understand them, you realize that these things can be a strength, or that they're very much capable, more capable than, maybe even the outside world sees them. So it's just that dichotomy of like, how do you protect and nurture a child of differently able child versus like, just treating them as a normal kid.
Yeah.
What's your guys' first one?
Well,
the next up we would have chronologically would be episode 7, the very next one. And I think that's Pat.
It is Zuko alone. So I'll read the summary.
This guy's all on the Zuko nuts.
Yeah, I like to have a good time. After leaving his uncle, Zuko continues. Oh, I got never mind. Remind me later. Let's try that again.
Did you get the naked M&M?
No, I wish, because I would have immediately sent that to you in chat.
Okay.
After leaving his uncle, Zuko continues his solo journey. He meets a boy in an Earth Kingdom town who brings him home for dinner. While this happens, Zuko has flashbacks about his life before banishment, involving his loving mother and cruel sister, Azula. Why, here comes Azula! So I will also note that Kareem wrote on my notes, weird man boner for Zuko.
You do. You have
Fair
a
enough.
weird man boner for Zuko.
So I really like this episode because it is a bottle episode in many ways, and it's basically a Western.
Yeah.
Like it's a Western. It's like a Clint Eastwood movie in a half an hour, in like a little half an hour bottle episode. It also kind of deals with the fact, as I put in the notes, the price of colonization. You can't be a hero when you represent the villain. If you compare it to Jet, who I hate, as we previously discussed,
I have a vague memory of that.
Yeah, fuck Jet. But he is deemed, like, if you're looking at it from a macro level, he's deemed as on the side of good, doing bad, while Zuko is trying to be a good guy. It's one of the earlier forays into him trying to be a good guy, but when the town finds out who he is, or at least that he's associated with the Fire Nation, they want nothing to do with him. His association with that, the fact that he's still tied to the Fire Nation, means by that fact of itself, he cannot be helpful to the village.
Yeah.
He's teamed with the bad guys. But just the fact that it's literally like a Western. It's a Clint Eastwood film, just like mushed into this little episode.
So can I get 22 minutes of Unforgiven? Can I just get that little?
Just throw that in there. Thanks. Cool.
Okay.
Like every Clint Eastwood movie where he plays a Southern soldier looking for redemption. Yeah, just do that for 22. Thanks.
Well, it reminds me of like the stuff that they do with most Marvel movies, excluding the Eternals, which is garbage. Is where they allow a director. I'm saving you here. Where they allow a director to kind of have their own take on the characters or the storyline itself, but with like a genre kind of behind it, where you have like the action comedy of like Ant-Man, or you have the spy thriller of Winter Soldier, or you have like the Shakespearean aspects to the first two Thors, stuff
Don't
like
try
that.
and make Thor happen. Don't.
You have no idea what you're dealing with.
Shakespeare in the Park?
They
Better
did.
than that.
I didn't do that. They did.
But don't try and like the
Gotten
Shakespeare.
better since
Shut
then.
up. Just skip Thor.
Fair enough.
Just
But
hate.
It reminds me of that when you said it's like a Western where they they already have their own set genre for this particular property, but they're kind of they're stretching their feet, saying like, what else could we do within our own parameters and make it interesting. What was yours, Ken?
Are we going in episode order?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh,
and yeah, I was gonna say
sure.
We were going in episode order, and I realized I started that. And I'm like, okay, cool, this will work out.
Yeah,
And then I'm
you
like,
did
I picked two very late in the series choices. So then next up would be Pat with
Again.
Yeah.
My next episode is The Drill. Aang discovers a secret Fire Nation superweapon heading straight for Ba Sing Se and must stop it before it destroys the Great Wall, which protects the city from invasion. Meanwhile, Jet, that piece of shit, wishes to recruit Zuko for his freedom fighters, but learns a dangerous secret about him instead. I'm not gonna lie. They just made a big drill. Like, it's so like, hey, there's a big wall. What we should do? Why don't we just make a big ass drill? Done.
Yeah.
That's all we're gonna do. Make the biggest drill possible. It's gonna be powered by fire. That's it. Or steam. That's it. Big ass drill. Done and done. Love the plan. Just like, yeah, you're not trying to overthink and over engineer. We got to get through there. How do we do it? Drill, hole, in, done.
And then like to see too, even how the Earthbenders try to stop it, and they're just like, nope, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a reason
it stops them.
Yeah, it's a reason it's kind of round. Like, yeah, we're not, no, everything is made to like, yeah, just a fucking drill. We're good. We're gonna jam our way with our big Fire Nation cock right into your city.
Very much so.
It's extremely phallic, guys. Come on, let's not pretend.
Well,
and if I remember too, like this is the part where it's like, what's his Uncle Iroh warms up his tea because it's too cold, and then he's like, "Look at the old man, he's drinking hot tea." It's like, yeah, and he's like, he warmed it up. What's wrong with you? Like everyone starts to turn on Jet, and I'm like, yeah,
fuck Jet.
Hey, Jet was right. Damn it.
I mean, he was, but it's like, oh god, that just makes me think of the oh man, sorry, I just had a flash of Big Lebowski. Like, yeah, it's right, but you don't got to be a dick about it. Something like that. I'm trying to remember the scene, but
yeah, I mean, for all of Jet's faults, his parents were murdered by the Fire Nation. So, hey, when you're going to see fire everywhere.
I mean, but we already
like your opinion,
we know that,
man.
Yeah, we know that Jet's an unreliable narrator, though. So, were his parents really killed by the Fire Nation, or did he do it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
We don't know. Like, I don't know if I can trust him. Like, if he maybe would have not been a jerk to my boy, Sokka, then maybe I could trust him a little bit more. And he
Sokka's an asshole too.
Sokka's misunderstood.
And he turned.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Turns the corner quickly, and he's like, "Hey,
because he was able. You know why? Because he was able to live.
Work this out.
Because he was able to live to turn the corner.
They both made it to the end of season 1. They both made it into season 2.
Yeah, it's like near the very end of season 2. So he had plenty of time. He's just like, nah,
trying to save him.
Jet.
I mean, after the brainwashing, yeah.
Yeah. So not only does he lose his parents, he's brainwashed to try and attack him. Did
he lose them, or did he cut them loose?
The brainwashing and sacrifices himself.
I mean, he sacrificed his parents. Why wouldn't he sacrifice himself?
Jet was never going to have a chance with me. All right. Like after the first episode, like I get it. There's an arc there where he that's fine. I don't like Jet. I'm just not going to get over that. I made a decision and I just stuck with it.
Fair enough. I'm not here to convince you.
I don't know.
I do love all of the machinations and like how they have to try and disable it so many different times. They finally go inside, and then like just that little bit of water they use to cut those cross beams.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good it's like problem solving and stuff there. It's good. And then in the end, when the Earth, I mean, this is like going forward a few episodes, but when they try to get through the wall, and then the Dialee's like, no, they didn't, and nothing happened. They're fine, and like they just covered all up. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. Like it's just this giant drill, but there it is.
Yeah. There is no war in Ukraine. Ba Sing Se. Excuse me.
There's no war within the walls. Here we are safe.
Too close. Too top.
Here,
this is never going to make it on YouTube.
At least not in the Kremlin. Get demonetized there.
Yeah. Well, I guess that goes right into mine, right? Are we doing chronological?
Yeah, we're
you really set this up, so you got to end season 2.
I just taking the reins of this show, boys.
Well, I mean, just going back to what you're saying about there not being anything happening in Ba Sing Se, like that is again, another, I believe, iconic thing that I think there's like, obviously there's memes of this one, right? Of what's her name? What is
Julie?
Julie, yeah.
Oh no, it's Julie.
Yeah. She gets replaced and then she comes back. But I chose that one just because I thought it was an episode that didn't have a lot of action, as far as what the show kind of can do. And it's coming off of a ton of action as well, but it's still a super interesting episode. Where they're being shown the city and they're kind of, you get that weird Hitchcockian like second layer of like, oh, there's something going on. She's super creepy, and they're trying to be gaslight. They're basically gaslighting their guest and just like saying like, oh, we're all fine. And it, in retrospect, now I've even grown more appreciative of it because they were pulling from stuff that I hadn't even thought about as far as politics were concerned, and it's more prevalent today than it was back when the show was at least being written at the time, or at least I was aware of, sadly. So I really enjoyed that one, and like I said, it's just a way that I felt like the writing just kept the show at a high level for this season, even though there wasn't a ton of action, at least not for that episode.
I do feel like season 2, like they start to stretch their legs with the writing, and it really start to see what they can do with it. Like it is as Kareem, I think you pointed out last episode, season 1 definitely is, it's a kid, this is all a kid show, but it definitely feels like a kid show in season 1, where season 2 they really ramp up like the themes and kind of the what's actually happening there. And I think Ken's episode is gonna even dive deeper into that and make us all sad.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we did like 7 and then 8, and then we're here doing 13, 14, and 15. Like it just the hits are just like, it's just like right there, bam, bam, bam. It's and the show's firing on all cylinders because you do have those high points that then give you like, oh well, those need to make way for an episode of just like, okay, we need a moment of rest. But then there's like this rest is tense and eerie and off. And then like, okay, well then we're gonna move into my first pick of the season, which is Tales of Ba Sing Se. And it's my pick for a bunch of different reasons. Like I like the anthology nature of it. Like, okay, well this is Katara and Toph on their own little adventure, and there's some great moments. Like they get to have a moment together and be the girls and feel how they've been stuck with these two boys that they're like, yeah, it's my brother and Aang, and just it is whatever. But Toph never had a girlfriend before this. Like she was just kind of on her own in the house, or the occasional fighting in the wrestling stuff. Like this is her first girlfriend, and she's like, she gets to express what that means for her, being both blind and then like, oh well, let's try some makeup and make ourselves so pretty. It's like, well, what does that mean to me being a blind person? How does that? And that plays out great there, and that hits you in like those heartstrings. And then you've got Sokka's, who's far more laid back and just kind of fun because he's like, oh, I think he stumbles into the, I guess would be a school because they're learning about
poetry,
haikus.
Yeah,
poetry and haikus specifically, and he's just kind of throwing stuff off the cuff and it's landing, and it's kind of fun. But of course, the main reason I bring up this episode is because of the Uncle Iroh story, and it's before I go into that, I will mention I believe this is the same episode that has Zuko dating the young girl from the tea shop that he meets, and like kind of like goes on a date, and he's like kind of trying to experience what life is when he doesn't have to be the son of the Fire Lord. Like he's not Prince Zuko, he's Lee. He's just a kid who works in a tea shop, and that's a good moment for him too. And so like it's great that we get to see all these kind of down like low key moments in their lives and what it means to them at that time. And then on to Uncle Iroh, who helps a mugger who tries to mug him. He's like, no, your stance is all wrong. You gotta stand like this, and you're off balance here. And then he helps a little baby and sings a little song to him and gets them to calm down for her mother. And then it's all in this culmination of he's had this day off because he's going to have a moment to honor his son who passed in the first war. And like Ebony's over here, like, getting misty, and I'm doing the same thing too. Cause it's once you start to hear the lyrics and you're like, oh wait, He's singing about his son. He's singing about his son that passed, and the reason why he gave up the war. The reason why, when he first tried to siege Ba Sing Se, he heard about his son's passing. He's like, "I'm done. I'm out. Like, we're done here. Like, I laid siege to this city for," they say, something like a crazy amount of time, and then when that happens, he's just like, "My world's gone. I'm done. I'm out. F the war. I'm gonna go home. I can't take this right now." And so then you see how that hits him and how that has affected his relationship with Zuko, and how it all plays back in your head. And just this moment of like this, as you go and you see it a second time or a third time, and you're just like, God, like all that weight that is on that moment made all the heavier with the last screenshot of I think it's in loving memory of Mako. Pardon me, everyone. Is because Mako passed away before this episode aired. And Mako is a famous Japanese actor. I believe it's Japanese. I feel horrible that I'm suddenly misremembering it. Yes, he is Japanese. He played a lot of different roles. He played Master Splinter and some of the Ninja stuff. He was in MASH, which is one of the first times that I saw him. But he was in Conan the Barbarian. And he's just has like a laundry list of roles he's had throughout the time. He's Aku in Samurai Jack. And so like all these different roles and stuff, and I could probably pull up a list and go on for, he was in a bunch of different things. But yeah, so it's like he had this career that was pretty great. And then to think that he passed before they were able to wrap up the series and have his character kind of come to the conclusion that they wanted for him. So like that episode hits, like it's great at the time, and then on rewatches it has so much more weight to it. So that's why Tales of Ba Sing Se is my first pick of season 2 of like the most memorable. But given I will admit a fair amount of it is outside character knowledge, and it's not just a standalone of the episode. But even with just the stuff within the episode, it still feels very hefty and heavy on the heart.
Well, I mean, to your point, all the things that, and I think it's, we're just kind of beating a dead horse, but all of the things that they've studied and they added into this were so thoughtful that, all the outside stuff you're talking about, they took into consideration when making these episodes. Unfortunately for the passing part, that adds, like you said, added weight to it, but they knew going into this, like they wanted to do a father-son kind of memoriam. They also wanted to they're also setting up I guess what we come to realize is his kind of impression, his imparting on Zuko, as you said, like why he cares so much, why he's, being so patient. Like there are times where you're like, dude, you don't need this. Like you've lived a life, you've done what you've done, you've lost your son. But he's trying to kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say replace or regain any of that, but he's trying to fill a void, I would assume, with this. And so when they kind of have their outing and you see him kind of broken by that, you have that knowledge as well to that. So, that the writers all are thinking about this. This isn't just like, oh, let's get to the big fight at the end of the show or any of that. It's like, let's take some time to sit in these areas, in these pockets of the story and live them, not just, move on. Like you said, go from one action sequence to the next. It's like, we're going to take an episode to just have them serve tea. Even though we have a limited amount of episodes.
They do a really good job of letting things breathe when they need to breathe. Yeah. I would also say in terms of the Iroh-Zuko relationship, I think it's not just trying to fill that hole that was left by his son's passing, but that he does see that Zuko, like everything he is doing is for approval from a parent who will never approve, who is just a bad parent and a bad person. Like Iroh knows his brother. Like he knows that he's a piece of shit. He's got that down. And he knows that Zuko is at his very core, a decent kid that is just extremely confused and hurt and will do anything to get that kind of acceptance from his father.
Yeah. And it's to the point, he's not trying to replace him. He just doesn't want history to repeat itself, in that a son could push himself further than he needs to, and put himself in a dangerous situation. And he's trying just to break the cycle of hype, because I'm sure this is, I'm sure there's times where he may have felt where he could have done something different and his son could have still been there. So he's like, no, I need to not make amends, but just try and right the ship as best he can. And that's where it's like everything that comes after with Zuko and stuff hits. So like every episode hits harder because you have all this knowledge, which you knew some of it before. Like you knew that his son had passed, and you knew that he, like, that's what had pulled him out of the war, but you didn't know how much it still weighed on him on the day to day, and how it still is just like, well, he needs to take the day off and just go do this. And like, that's when you see like maybe you didn't see the depths, but you acknowledge the deeper well that Iroh had there, as opposed to like, you know, other characters like Fire Lord Ozai, who's just like, I'm evil. Like,
I mean, he's pretty evil, so you know what you're gonna do.
I mean, he's voiced by Mark Hamill.
Who is also
Hobgoblin.
evil.
Yeah. There you go.
It's weird to say it's many ways the Zuko Iroh story arc is about healing generational trauma, but in many ways it is, because you can go all back to Aang's predecessor and you can see a straight line from, I can't remember his name. I
Fire Lord
apologize. No, not Ozai. Aang's the predecessor of Aang, and his friend who was the one that decided I'm going to take over. But you can kind of see that.
And Fire Lord, who's the because I'm sorry, it wasn't Ozai, but it was Fire Lord Sozin.
Sozin, that's right.
There we go.
I don't remember if Ozai follows Sozin or if there's someone between.
Well, it's 100 years, so there
should be at least one.
There could be, but there doesn't necessarily need, like, depending on the age and stuff. There could,
because Boomy is what, 80 something years old.
Oh, that's true. Boomy's still with us, so
yeah. So it's only one generation, I would assume.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah,
these people live long. They eat healthy.
Yeah,
they work out. They live.
I mean, you know, there's not a lot of McDonald's around there or sexy M&Ms for them to eat.
They need
those fire flakes. Mwah, chef kiss.
Fast food cabbage stands.
All right, Ken, how else are you going to depress us?
Yeah, take us out of this depressing hole.
The complete opposite side of the spectrum is I'm going back to, I had my wrong list open. Actually, stuff. No, it's not. Mine goes the opposite. Never mind. It does not go the opposite. It is Crossroads of Destiny. I was thinking of my next season. So yeah, I'm still just on a downswing for this, which is actually kind of a good job of it's. I mean, if you're looking at the Star Wars of it, you've got New Hope ends on a positive. Empire ends on the down note. Things are kind of like they're not looking so great for our heroes. What's going to happen next? And then you go into book 3. True, so this is very much like Azula. You have Katara and Zuko down in the mines underneath the Bossing Say, and they're like they actually seem like they're rounding a corner. Like, oh, maybe Zuko's not all that bad. Maybe she's going to help him. You know, maybe everything's going to come together, and then Azula hits those right buttons and flips Zuko, and just like, no, this is going to go the other way. And it's not the last episode of the season, but it's like the one just before, where you're just like, how could things go? Are we possibly going to see, you know, a happy ending for season 2? And then spoilers for the next episode. No, like there's a lot of good moments of seeing how things are put into place. And you're like, your expectations for a kid's show and for a cartoon, like, oh, the heroes are going to stop them here. We'll find something for next season. But no, that's not the case. Everything kind of turns to crap kind of quickly. And like all the stuff that Aang was trying to, even actually come to think of it, Aang does the thing where he's like, oh, I'm still training with Monkey Yatso. He's training with one of the monks. And he's like, oh, I'm trying to unblock my chakras so I can regain access to the Avatar state. And he leaves before his training's done. He's like, no, I've got to go help them. And that's the wrong thing to do. And it's actually very Star Wars in that way. I hadn't thought about it till just now. But yeah, he goes before his training's complete because he needs to help his friends, and ends up maybe not making things worse, but definitely doesn't end up helping, and actually puts him back several steps because of what happens, you know, going forward. So yeah, I ended the season and they ended the season on a bit of a down note, which is.
Well, didn't they kind of telegraph that going into that episode, saying that Aang was going to make the wrong decision?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely set up that way, but I mean it is also part of like your expectations versus like you're like, well, they're still going to save the day, and in the end they escape on the Falcon. That's kind of all they do, is they get out of there on Appa, and like Katara has to use her healing water, and yeah, but it was still a great season, and because I'm surprised that I didn't think of it till now, the parallels with Star Wars, but it's all right there.
Because it was its own good story, I would assume. Like,
yeah,
I think all of season 2 introduces us to really strong female characters, not just Toph, but I mean, Katara gets more in, after season 1, where she kind of gains some more fighting abilities, stuff like that. She becomes more confident, more, co-leader versus just like the healer, so to speak. Like they're,
get out of that cleric role.
Yeah, she's making decisions right alongside Sokka and everybody else that have weight to the entire story. We get
oh great, you again.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Nicely done.
My favorite, which is aside from Toph, is Azula, and I'm like, I mean, she goes through some weird like aging between season 2 and 3, but when they first introduced her, I was like, oh, this is a really cool extension of like where Zuko was going, versus like, I thought she was going to be like the bad version of him, and he'd be able to turn the corner, which I think is what you were saying, Ken, as far as the misdirection. Like we thought like, oh, he's already gone beyond that, and we have that new evil presence. He doesn't need to he doesn't need to go back to that. And then she ends up, like you said, kind of turning him, and now you're like, well, now the evil side, bad side has even more people. Like, how are they going to overcome this in season 3?
And once again, the character of Zuko, going back to that, it's really kind of a bold step to take to have him backslide like that, but because they've done the work to lay the groundwork for these characters' personalities and kind of invest us in all of them, not just Aang and Katara and Sokka, it allows that to happen and still feel earned when the inevitable redemption occurs. It's like, yeah, he backslid because everything he wanted was being handed to him, and what he wants, it's not. It's acceptance and love from his family.
Yeah.
So of course that temptation is going to overwhelm him.
Yeah. Kind of similar. I mean, it just goes to speak to the quality of writing, because it's even as much as we talked about it before. I believe that was here. Now I'm mixing up my podcast because with Cobra Kai.
Because you're a podcast whore.
Yeah.
slut, super slut.
Giving it away. But like they're
like that damn Eminem.
Oh goodness gracious. But yeah, there's a lot of the same similar stuff can happen in Cobra Kai, where it's like, because all of the characters do get a more well-rounded, fleshed out backstory, that you like, if there is a backslide, if something comes, like, oh, I see how they got there. Not just like, I'm going to do a stupid thing for a stupid reason because the story needs me to. Like, everything that happens in this is very much like, oh no, like I see why Zuko felt susceptible, because Azula hit on just the right points, because she's that manipulative, that she knew how to play him and she knew what to say. Like, we can grab him right now and get your honor back. Your dad would love to see you, and dad doesn't give two craps about him. I mean, if he shows up, cool. If he doesn't, cool. He's fine either way.
He wrote him off the moment he spoke up in that war meeting. Like, that was it.
Well, it's also, like you said, to the writing, that they used sibling rivalry to lure him back in. Because I don't know if, another quote unquote commander would have been able to kind of, shift his course as hard as it is to like have someone you've grown up with and someone that you feel is taking your spot. Something that you've, even though you've tried to turn your back on, you've spent so many years doing it. And now your younger sibling is going to sort of cash in on all the hard work. It's like, no, I'm going to take credit for this if anybody's going to do it.
Yeah. So
I thought that was pretty, because at first, when they first introduced her, I'm like, where was she at this whole first season? And I thought it was, at first I was like, oh, this is lazy writing. They're just going to introduce this random character that we've never heard about as a sibling. But then you see how she plays out and how they kind of meet each other throughout the entire season. And she keeps kind of taunting him. And you're like, no, that's what a younger sibling or any age sibling would do in this kind of weird, messed up family dynamic.
As we learn in Zuko Alone back in episode 7.
Yes, very much so. Before Ken drug us down on Emotionville.
Yeah, I'm sad now.
Yeah, well, that was book 2, Earth.
Which arguably could be one of the best books of the 3 seasons. I mean, I love
it's probably my favorite, I would say. I think it's probably the most well written, because they don't have to tie up loose ends and they can really do some depth to character exploration.
Yeah, they're just in there doing the work. It's not just like, well, we have to wrap this up and close this off, and they get, and also they think speaks to the idea that they, despite not having every specific written down, they had an overall idea of this is where we're going to go. Where I do think with Korra, we have a bit of, we've got one season as for sure. So, okay, so we've got one season. Okay, cool. Oh, then this much into it, we have a second season. Okay, cool. Then we've got 3 new seasons, or we get 4. We got 4 now. So they have to kind of keep changing where the goalpost is. And whereas with this, it was kind of like, this is our plan. Can we get to it? And they kind of just kept working towards that goal. And that is, I mean, we've talked a little bit in the past about Star Wars too, of like having the idea of knowing your pacing and know when you're gonna what your end goals are, and at least a good idea of like where you're gonna end up is over here. Whereas if you're just like, but then Lost is a hit, so we're gonna have 8 more seasons, and you're like, well, I wrote out an outline for 3 seasons. That was all we planned to go to. So now I have to fill in stuff. I can add more stuff, but I still have to close it all up. So then we end up in a church and no one cares.
No, you end up in purgatory, stupid.
No, not for another 4 more years.
Yeah.
Me. That's not where we're headed to.
Yeah.
But I mean,
psych.
One last thing I wanted to say was that looking at it now, thematically speaking, that's season 2 is where they're grounded. Like they don't travel very far outside of the Earth. Yeah, outside of the Earth Kingdom. In season 1, you're going from the Southwater Tribe to the Air Temple to some other places in between. And then you finally get to the Air Temple. Like the group is traveling. In the Earth Kingdom season 2, they're just there that most of the time until they fly off or whatever or whatnot. So they, like you said, they're just kind of there. And you got, like we've been saying, just sitting in those stories. Then you go to season 3 and they're still sort of traveling. They go back to the Western Air Temple. They travel somewhere to like learn some other things in different places. They're kind of still moving about.
It's like Ken said, it's Return of the Jedi. It reminds me of the Dark Knight trilogy because it ends on kind of a melancholy, like what happens from here, but is probably the best of the bunch.
Yes.
So really the problem is you should only watch the second movie of every trilogy.
Yeah. Terminator 2.
Are you going to count T3 as are you going to break those off as a trilogy, champ? You going to do that?
No, even if we broke those off and they we said those weren't part of canon, this Dark Fate one still is the third one.
Wait. Okay, wait. So then, yeah, that's fair. But wait, so after T3, you've got
Salvation.
Oh, okay. So you got Salvation,
Genesis with a Y,
Genesis, and then Dark Fate. So was there another one in there, or is that it?
I think
we have a show.
That's right, the show, which is awesome. So okay, so you got 2 trilogies of 2. Wow, the sequel trilogy. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But the sequel trilogy is also a prequel trilogy, depending on how you look at it, because time travel.
Which one you count? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not.
We just take T1 and T2, and we'll just dump the rest.
Sounds good.
Except for the TV show, we can still watch that on DVD or.
I'm not. Dump the rest of the movies.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, TV show is awesome.
Yeah, TV show's great.
Yeah, Circe over there shotgunning dudes is great.
Happy birthday, my son. If only I could have helped you. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile, tiny shells drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home.
Brave soldier boy comes marching home.